Fiercer and stronger, the young man now possesses new abilities after his first victory. The glorious power of the creature invades Chang Ting's soul, and he feels increasingly stronger. Now he is no longer just a curious young man, but a true warrior determined to save all of humanity. After his transformation, he has just received the alert that he has acquired within himself the soul of the lone wolf. Thus emerges a new champion filled with power, agility, and great reflexes. As it was written in the book, our protagonist has now received all the energy contained in the soul of a wolf. And without thinking twice, the young man starts testing his fantastic new abilities. Very powerful, he is ready to face whatever comes. With clenched fists, he strikes the concrete. Amazingly, his punch destroys everything in front of him. A superhero has just been born. But the young man is still frightened by the size of his current power. A mysterious artifact appears in front of him, one he knows very well is an abyssal seed. Throwing it down his throat, the protagonist tries to absorb the powers of that artifact. His pupil dilates as he realizes he has just acquired one of the greatest powers in existence. Fully empowered, he can feel all the blue magic within his soul. But all that power seems to cause him a kind of nausea as he is still getting used to all of this. He has just received another ability, the power to launch his swords quickly. It is at this moment that he realizes humanity depends on him. At the right time, Chang Ting will be able to use his entire new arsenal to save humanity from this supernatural attack. The next step now is to understand how things will unfold in the coming days. Back at the school building, all the students seem to be engaged in a terrible conversation. And before Ting could understand what was happening, his friend jumps on top of him. With no time for nonsense, the young man dodges the boy who ends up crashing to the ground. The blonde friend noticed that something had changed about the boy. To prove he was right, his friend starts pointing out that the news about monsters has spread. Indeed, they seem to be facing a terrible apocalyptic attack that will culminate in the end of the world. Showing his tablet, the boy states that several people are posting that whoever kills the creatures gains their powers. However, Chang Ting tries to fake a certain disinterest with his friend. He tries to show that he doesn't believe it, and soon his friend gets irritated. But the blonde friend keeps insisting that it is possible to gain superpowers from all of this. The young man ends the conversation by making it clear that he doesn't want to hear about it anymore, leaving his friend very surprised. The teacher enters the classroom and starts asking the students to stop spreading false rumors about the end of the world. However, Ting, knowing very well what he has experienced, states that in a few days they won't be able to call all this false rumors. His friend gets very irritated with what is happening. After a long day, the bell rings, putting everyone on alert. After the announcement, the teacher informs that class has finally ended. In a heavy atmosphere, Chang Ting's friend approaches and invites him to go to the sports court to talk more privately. The young man doesn't quite understand what is happening, but decides to follow his friend. Some other students also take the opportunity to hang out in the court. Without mincing words, Ting's friend starts a long interrogation. Realizing that the young man won't say anything about the events, he starts to cry. Continuing his drama, the blonde boy begins to fall into a crying crisis. He gets irritated and for the first time calls Takedo by his name, saying that he has things to say but that it requires secrecy. He complains to his friend, stating that he is indeed someone trustworthy. The teenager, now full of power, asks his friend to pay attention to what he will be able to do with just the tip of his finger. Simply by touching a piece of the staircase, it immediately crumbles like a cracker. The blonde nearly has a heart attack when he realizes that his friend has just broken a block of concrete with the tip of his fingers. And without further delay, Ting finally tells his friend the whole truth, making it clear that he has acquired new abilities. Takedo seems increasingly fascinated by his friend, especially when he realizes that those hands were the ones that defeated a wolf. While he was holding his friend's hand, the beautiful girl from the class looks at it suspiciously. Seeing that scene, the girl imagines that they are flirting. The young man tells his friend that in 3 days the monsters will attack the city again and that they need to be prepared. That young man needs to be ready to also gain the abilities of his friend. However, Chang Ting is increasingly clear in stating that this needs to be a secret between friends. Time passes slowly after that conversation. While walking back home, our hero keeps remembering that the next attack will happen far from there. He will need to prepare to face the terrible monster that resembles a giant ape. However, he must prepare because this monster's abilities are far superior. The